All right. Hello. So I was about to add a new player to my game, so I thought, hey, let's record it and go through the steps together. So yeah, I did a quick agenda here, just to go through these, I guess, the steps. First of all, this is Aseprite, by the way. This is my this is basically Photoshop for pixel artists. I guess the short description for it has most of the same similar. It's very similar. So the first thing we're gonna do is gonna open up my player sprites in the painting program. We're gonna export all the frames that we need. Then we're gonna configure those sprites in Unity, set up the pivot points, the crunch compression, all of that. Then we're gonna create a new player using the new player wizard and add the animations to it. We're gonna save that character to a prefab. Then we're gonna add it to the actual game. Finally, test it, see if it works. Sounds good? All right, we're starting from the top, export frames. So I have my player character here. Basically, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add this character to the game. However, I'm gonna add it without the jacket. So let's see, where are we? Over here. Let's see if we can, yeah. So let's start from the bottom. Right, first animation is walking right. So this is a canvas. I paint my canvas in 128 by 128. I use this because it's a power of 2. You'll probably have this huge 4K resolution. Doesn't really matter. Everything same. I guess same technique applies, regardless. So let's export this. All right. Within my project folder, I already have created. This is my Unity project folder where I keep all my characters. I've already created a folder called Player Maya Civilian. Which is basically her indoor appearance without the jacket on. First of all, I need to name my frames. So this is gonna be the walk. Hang on a minute, we're gonna do this correctly. So I have where is the right one? So Maya Civilian walk right. So I'm gonna actually copy this. So I'm gonna try and keep the naming conventions fairly similar. Oh, I already have them. So we're gonna call it Maya Civilian walk right. Start from frames 1. We're gonna export this 8-frame sequence that I've tagged as tag here. Maya Civilian walk right 1. Let's see, everything looks fine. Export it. Now it's gonna ask me if I want to export it into single files, so that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be 8 separate PNGs. Agreed. So I'm gonna speed this up a bit because you don't want to watch me doing this all day. Let's do the left one. Remove the jacket. File. Export. Rename this one left. Export 8 frames. Remove that one. The upwards, remove the jacket, file, export, Maya walk, up, export, 8 separate files, and finally walk down, remove the jacket, file, export. Oh, cancel. I missed the enter button. Okay, Maya walk down. Maya Civilian walk down 0, 1, 2. All right, export. Agree. Cool. So now when I switch my Unity window, it's gonna see a little. It's gonna do some thinking here. It's importing all the new sprites. So next up on the agenda, we're gonna configure all these sprites in Unity. So to do that, I go to my. See, you can still see my screen, right? Yeah, I go to my project folder containing all the sprites I just exported. These are over here. So you can see them down here. Maybe if I actually, let's see, I'll move my head a bit. The good thing about Unity is you can do bulk conversion, I guess. Not conversion, you can configure everything in bulk. So I'm gonna select all my sprites at once. They're all the same size. Since I'm doing a low-res pixel art game, I don't need to do any compression, so I'm gonna select compression none. The max size of these sprites are coincidentally 128. This fits with Unity's max size 128, so I'm gonna pick that one. The filter mode is gonna be point, which is if you're used to doing pixel art, stuff like that, that's the regular, yeah, never mind, not important. And I'm gonna select the pivot point to bottom center. This means bottom center, just as bottom, but it's implied to be the center. Hit apply. It's gonna apply these settings to all my sprites. Very cool. Now that's done. So to start off, to create a new character, we need somewhere to start off. So I'm gonna use a sprite. I'm gonna use my first frame of the walking down animation as my my parent object. I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna rename this the player Maya Civilian. So this is the parent game object that is gonna be used to create my sprite. Within Adventure Creator, you have an editor over here that says Character Wizard. So I'm gonna click that one. Kaboom! I'm gonna drag this in so you can see it. This is fairly self-explanatory. This is it's gonna be a player. It's gonna use the player Maya Civilian game object. I'm gonna name it. Now it's gonna be animated using Sprites Unity. And that's it. Finish. Oh. Now it's called My New Player. So I messed up a bit, but never mind. So I'm gonna rename this to player. Sorry, I'm going a bit fast here, but play it slowly. Player Maya Civilian. I'm gonna rename this object player Maya Civilian sprite. And the sound child is gonna be Maya sound child. Maya Civilian sound child. So I can, this is where all the sound, never mind about this right now. All right. So now we have a game object. This game object is our new player. Within that game object, we have a sprite, which is what you can see. So this is an invisible game object. This is the sprite. This is where the sound is playing. So there are basically 3 objects. We're gonna add more to this later. So to start us off, we need to start creating animations. So this is very simple. First of all, looking at the game object, we can do some. We need to do some configuration here before we start doing the animations. First of all, as I said before, this is animate with Sprites Unity. Adventure Creator does some things automatically, like if you follow a certain naming convention, it will handle the walking animation, talking animation, the idle animations by automatically, which is incredibly good. So in order for this to work, you need to match a list of expected animations. So if I were to name my animations idle_u, then the upwards idle animation will be handled automatically. It's a problem is I shouldn't use these default names, because if I keep a lot of players, if I keep a lot of NPCs, we're gonna have a lot of animations with the same name. So we need to add our naming conventions to these as well. So I am gonna name this Maya Civilian Idle. Maya Civilian Idle. I capitalize each letter in each word just to make it easier to read. So now you can see here below, if you expand this one, the expected animations for the idle animations to work is to have 4 animations called Maya Civilian _up, _down, _r, _left. So we're gonna do the same thing with walk animations. Maya Civilian Walk. My character can't run, remove that. My character can talk, so add that. My head is not in a separate layer, so I ignore that. It has 4 facing directions. And I'm not using frame flipping because I have separate sprites for left and right because of my character not being mirrored. It's not uniform. So that's it. Sorry if I'm going a bit fast. So what do we need to do now? Yeah, we need to add animation. So I select my sprite object. Then I click this button here under the animation tab. To begin animating a player Maya Civilian sprite, create an animation clip. Hit create. Alright. Within my project folder, I have an animations folder where I store all my animations. I'm going to create a new folder here called player Maya Civilian. And my first animation is gonna be, you guessed it, Maya Civilian idle underscore U for up. Done. Now, good practice here is to actually do all of these before you start adding frames to keep it. Otherwise, you can get lost basically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do all of this. So maybe I can just click that, and I get the naming convention right. Remove that, hit D for down, create a new one, select that one, R for right, create a new one, select that one, L for left. So now we have the 4 basic idle animations, but we need more. So what else do we need? Click the game object, look at the expected animation list. Okay, we need walk, so we're gonna add those. I can actually copy these, and you can see I actually did I misspell it? No, it's dirt on my screen. Never mind. All right, go back here to the sprite, create a new clip. That clip is gonna be named Maya Civilian Walk underscore up. Underscore up for up. Create a new clip, and we just repeat this process. Down, left, and right. So that's it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna skip all the rest. I can do that later. The process is exactly the same for talk, for running, for anything. So we're just gonna keep it simple. We're gonna create a character that is able to move around. So yeah, starting from the top. To create an idle down animation, I don't have that animated yet. I've only done the walk animations. But to have a placeholder, I'm gonna use a single frame of her walk cycle, just to have something being displayed when she's in idle. So I'm gonna find one that looks good, or maybe, yeah, why not the first one? That looks fine. I'm gonna select this, then drag it onto the animation timeline with Maya Civilian idle down selected. Okay, click. So my idle animation, if I hit play now, it's just a single frame like that. Actually, just to make it everything more visible, I'm gonna move her up in the layer here to the character foreground here. Put on layer 1, and we're gonna just move her so you can actually see what's going on. Yeah, it's a bit dark, I guess, but yeah, never mind about that. All right. So we have the down animation. Now we're gonna add the left facing animation. So we take the walk cycle left, as you can see down here in the left corner. I get a preview of my frame. So I'm gonna find one that looks not completely stupid. Maybe that one. Gonna drag that one in. Done. Now we have a left facing idle frame for the right one. I'm guessing the third one is similar. Yep. Drag that into the timeline. The upwards facing idle animation, we're gonna take, I guess the first frame is fine. So kaboom. So now we have 4 animations. I'm doing the air quotes because they're only single frames. Now we're actually gonna do real animations. So I'm going with the Maya Civilian walk down. It's nothing to it. Select all your animations, just drag them onto the timeline. You're done. We have a walk animation. Go with the left ones, select everything, drag it in, done. Right ones, select everything, kaboom, done. Up, select everything. Oh, but Woozy, this is too fast. Yeah, that was actually what I was asking in the chat before. I ran into a problem. So I'm not sure, this is not best practice, but this is how I've done it in my old player characters. So I'm gonna do the same for my new one just to be consistent, so I don't have different changes. These are way too fast. I do know that the good speed for my gamer resolution is 0.2, so I'm gonna change that within the animation, within the animator. So you can, let me first say that these settings are completely dependent on your project. So my settings will not work for your game. These are just things you need to fiddle with until it looks good. But the principles are the same. So we're actually gonna skip this part. I'm gonna do that later. We don't need to go into these advanced details yet. What we have done now is created a very basic player with idle, single idle frames and a walk animation. So what else do we need to do? Yeah, we need to create, this is what you do. We create the player using the Wiz and we animated it. Now we're gonna save it as a prefab. How do you save something as a prefab? It is incredibly simple. I have a folder here that is called prefabs. Within that folder I have one called characters. Here I have my current characters in the game that I've created a prefab of. Yeah, I just take this, drag it into here, boop. I know it's a prefab if it turns blue up here. Then you know that you have created a prefab. That's a good thing to have to be aware of. Once you've done this, you can delete the object. Do not delete it over here. You can delete it from your scene. So how do we use this player? Yeah, within AC Game Editor, this is also something that is different from project to project. Under settings, since my game has multiple playable characters, I have something under character setting that is said player switching allowed. So every player within playable character within the game needs to be added here. So now I have two. I have the player with the ninja suit on it, which is the one I've been using for a long time as my test player, more or less. I have a player model of Maya with her jacket on, with her coat on. And now we're gonna add the playable character Maya without her coat on. So add new player. I can't add it from this menu here. That is because this is you need to use a prefab for this. So what you do is you drag it in. So I have my prefab down here, player Maya Civilian. I drag that into the player slot here. So what happens if I hit play now? Is it done? No. Next step is we're gonna test. No, the next step, the thing we did, we added to the game. Sorry, I'm not using my agenda that I drew. Sorry, we added it to the game. That's done now. Now we're gonna test it. So see if it works. So if I hit play now, it's not gonna work. Why? Because she's not set as the default player. So I'm gonna set her as default here with the little cog. Set as default. Hit play. See what happens. Ooh, this doesn't look good. She's sliding around and stuff. Why is that? Yeah, that is because she has gotten the default settings. All the default settings from the AC character wizard. So what we're gonna do is, since I already have a character set up and a prefab here, I can double click my prefab. My old prefab, as you're saying, with the ninja suit, which is a player that actually works fine. So let me show you. If I set that player as the default, it's gonna look a lot different. see. So we want the settings of that character applied to the other character. So I double click my prefab and I get up like a little extra, another editor window you can see. You can see this over here that it says scenes. If I click that one, I will go back to my scenes. And I can see that I'm in prefab mode, which when this one is highlighted over here. So here, let's select the, first of all, let's copy. I have a global light on all my player character, which is basically, it has a light aura, which lights up the area around it. I'm gonna copy this. And I'm gonna put that on my other prefab, so I double click it. Aha, look at that. Gonna paste it. Boop, like so. I'm gonna center it. Is it centered, by the way? No, it's gonna be in the middle. Okay, so we're gonna move it up a bit. Select the point light, move it up. Something like that. That's fine. Cool. Open the Ninja suit. Select this object over here. Now, when you work in Unity, usually you use, if you want to copy settings, you use this 3 dots here on the script, and you say copy component, and you go to your other the things you want to apply those settings to, and you just use paste values, paste component values. Then it won't overwrite the script, but it will use all the values. However, if I do that right now, it will overwrite my naming conventions and everything. I don't want that to happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cheat a bit. Well, not really cheat. I'm gonna use something called the snipping tool. So I'm gonna copy these. I'm gonna take a screenshot of these. And then I'm just gonna manually add them. So I have a walk speed scale of 1.2. 1.2. The run speed is 6, doesn't really matter because that's we're not using running. We have an acceleration of 1, deceleration of 0, minimum run distance 1. The turn speed is 10, so move that up to 10. Turn root object in 3D is, and we have retro style movement. Retro style movement means that there is no I guess it removes acceleration and deceleration and turning speed and stuff like that. So yeah. Head turn speed is 2.96. Probably doesn't matter because I don't use a head, but let's just, for the sake of this video, copy that as well. It's gonna ignore gravity. It has a sound child. We need to add the, it already has the sound child added, and we should use the audio source of the, we don't have that yet, so never mind, we can skip that. Dialogue settings, everything like that you need to fix later. All right. For my characters, I have a thing that is completely unique for me, but for this to look good, I need to do it. So this is a step you might skip. But when I created this character, I configured the speed using the animator, the speed of the animation using the animator. So if you look at my animation, oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. Here, my walk down animation, okay, oh, sorry, here. So let me dock this window so you can actually see what's going on. Let's find the walking animation. Yeah, so I have the walk animation. As you can see over here, I've changed the speed of this animation to 0.2 when the default is actually 1. So that's why it's moving at a normal speed. So I'm gonna go with my player Maya civilian. I'm gonna select the sprite, and as you can see, it changed all the changed the animations in the animator window, so I know I'm looking at the right place. So I'm gonna actually select my walking animations here and set them to 0.2 manually. And as I said before, you can skip this part for you, because this is probably unique to my game and it's not best practice at all. But I have to do it because I was stupid a long time ago and have to live with it. So go into the AC game editor window. We set my civilian sprite to default. Look at the scene. It has the default nav mesh applied here. It has the player 2D start. It has the nav cam, the sorting map, everything is selected. Otherwise just hit create on it. See what happens if we press play. Yeah, there she is. And she's moving around. She moves in the right direction. She can move, I guess if we open this door, she can move inside. Can she move up? Yeah, she's animated up, she's animated down, everything is great. So yeah, we're more or less done. All we need to do now is add more animations to it to make her come alive, more like actually making the idle animation do something. Maybe she scratches her butt or something like that. We need to add talking animations, we need to add all the interactions, picking up items, using stuff. But the same principle applies as before. So yeah, that's it. That's how you create a character, new player in Adventure Creator. It's not that much to it. I can also show you my nav mesh just for fun, so you see how it actually looks like. I can probably select it here. That's it. I just have a plan. As I know that Enigma, you mentioned in the Discord that you want a flat. Your character only walks basically in a 2D, so back and forth, and then does small movements up and down, or like 90-degree movements up and down for stuff. And so this is basically the same thing for me here in this example. One thing to note is that you need to keep these very, very basic, not basic. Try to keep them as low poly as possible, because these take a lot of resources. The pathfinding used for these are quite advanced, so try to keep this. Don't do like this. Don't just like add it. So I need to follow exactly every pixel here. So this is not a good way of doing it. This will really add complexity to pathfinding algorithms. So keep it basic as much as possible, of course. So yeah, I think that's it. That's what I wanted to show you. If you have any questions, just send me a message, and we'll get through it together.